Hello everyone and welcome to the final video in this Esri UK housing tutorial series on grounds maintenance. Today we're going to be creating an ArcGIS dashboard of green spaces so that we can visualize and monitor the trees and green spaces that a housing association may be responsible for. And we're going to see how this can be updated in real time as information is collected and updated by our field staff who conduct regular tree surveys. This video follows on from the previous 3 videos in this grounds maintenance series, and if you'd like to catch up on any of those videos, click the link in the video description to explore the playlist. Now we'll be using out-of-the-box tools available in ArcGIS Online in today's video, and we're going to be using the data that we had collated from the previous 3 videos to power the dashboard. To follow along this tutorial and make your own dashboard, you'll need a creator license in ArcGIS Online, and we'll be using the ArcGIS Dashboards application. To create this final dashboard, it took me around 40 minutes from start to finish, and it will automatically reflect any changes that are now made to the underlying data. For example, the health or risk of a tree will update as our field staff conduct their annual tree preservation orders. It's worth noting, once you have made this dashboard, you won't need to remake it again. So although it takes longer to set up in the initial stages than other applications in ArcGIS Online, you won't have to continue updating the dashboard or the data as it's automatically done when new data is added. So this is what the final dashboard looks like once configured. And towards the end of the video, we're going to even create a mobile view of the dashboard for any users who are accessing it on the go. So let's show you how to make this dashboard. First, we're going to jump into ArcGIS Online. Now, there are 2 ways to navigate to the dashboard's application. The first of which is to click the waffle button in the top bar to open up your ArcGIS apps list and select Dashboards. Here you'll be able to view your existing dashboards if you have any, and select Create Dashboard button to start making a new one. Alternatively, the other way of navigating to the Dashboards app is by finding an existing map in your ArcGIS Online content that you would like the dashboard to be based off. In this example, I'll be using the tree map that we made in video 1 of this series. If we open up the item's details, then on the right-hand side, you'll see a button to create a web app. Simply drop down this list of options here and select Dashboards. Now add the title and details for the dashboard and the folder that you'd like it to be saved in, then press Create Dashboard. So because we created this dashboard from the tree map's item details, we can see that the map has automatically been loaded into our dashboard so that we can get started with adding our elements. To do this, select the View button on the left-hand panel. From the View panel, you can add an element, or you can also select the Add Element tab on the left-hand panel, and then you can select the location on the dashboard where you'd like to add the element. Once you're happy with the location, select the type of element from the drop-down list. So to begin configuring the dashboard, I'm going to add a header. I can edit the settings of the header, for example, by adding a title, subtitle, and the general presentation of it. As this is a green spaces dashboard, I'm going to change the background color to a shade of green and then make the text white so that we can easily read it. You can also add your company's logo by uploading the image URL, or you can select an icon from the ArcGIS symbology. As you can see, there are lots of options to choose from, and if you'd like to add a custom icon, then you can also upload an image of your icon to do so. I'd like a tree to be my icon, so I'm going to navigate to the Hub folder and select the tree icon from there. As you can see, that's now been added next to the title of the dashboard in the header. You do also have the ability to add a URL to your icon. For example, if you are uploading your organization's logo, then you can link the logo to take people to your website's homepage. When you're happy with your header configuration, simply press Done. Next thing I'd like to add is the ability for users to filter the dashboard by tree species. So to do this, I'm going to navigate to the header section of the dashboard within the View panel, and then I'm going to add a category selector. I'd like this category to be based off the data's grouped values. When I select this option, I then have to define which layer within my map that I'd like the indicators to pull data from. Now I can see the data fields in this drop-down list and I can select the field in question. You can then sort your category by ascending or descending. And if we click the Selector tab in the left-hand column, then we can configure even more settings. So here I can now give the selector a label, icon, and choose how it's presented. You'll notice that any time I make edits to these settings, the preview on the screen will update to reflect how the element would look if it was added to the dashboard with its current settings. I'd like for the end user to see all of the species along the top bar rather than in a drop-down list. So to do this, I'll need to change the presentation mode to inline and remove the maximum width. Then I can go into the preview pane and drag the selector as wide as I would like it to appear so that we can now see all of the species listed in a row. I want the selector to update the map when someone picks a species. For example, if I clicked maple, I would want the map to only show maple trees. So to do that, we're going to navigate to the Action panel and then add a filter to the according feature layer in the map. Now you'll know which layer your element and map are both drawing from, as this layer will have a little layer icon next to it, as we can see with this tree point ownership layer. I can also add a zoom, so when the selection is updated, the map will filter to show the species and it will also zoom to show the new map extent of the trees. We can now test how our element works by interacting with the dashboard. So we'll see this map now zoom and filter to the tree species selected, like we configured. In the View tab, click the three dots beside the selector element that we just made and select Rename. Now we can give this element an appropriate name so it's easy to identify when we're configuring the relationships between the elements as we go through the video. Now I want to add an element to the body of the dashboard that's going to tell the user the total number of trees that we're looking at. To do this, I'll add an indicator element. Again, I need to select the tree points layer that I'd like to pull the attribute information from. The indicator automatically shows the count of the data, which is exactly the configuration that I'd like for this element. Navigating to the Indicator tab will allow me to add text formatting settings. So I'm going to add the title Total Trees to the top text that will appear above the tree value. You can configure your top, middle, and bottom text just how you'd like, and select the colors and font sizes that work best for your element. You'll notice the number of trees says K beside it to indicate how many thousands of trees we're looking at. But I'd like the user to see the exact number of trees. So to do this, I'm going to expand the Value Formatting tab and then deselect Unit Prefix. Under the General tab, we can give the element a name, again, so it's easy to identify it when we're configuring the dashboard elements and how they respond to each other. To enable the user to see the last time that the elements layer was refreshed, you can enable the Last Update Text option. As this dashboard is for green spaces and our trees are regularly updated by field staff using the mobile apps that we configured in video 2, having this text at the bottom left-hand corner of each of the elements means that the dashboard user can see the latest data in real time as edits are made. Next, I'm going to create a pie chart to show tree risk. Then I need to change the category field to the field in my data named Risk. Under the Chart tab, you can now change how the data is labeled in the pie chart, whether you want it to show no label because you'd like a legend to appear next to the chart instead, or whether you want to show the value or percentage of the data in each slice of the chart. I want to have uniform colors throughout the dashboard. So to update this, I'm going to select the Slices tab. Now here we can change the colors of the slices. So I'm going to do gray for no risk, green for low, amber for medium, and red for high. You can then also change the other settings of the slices, such as the opacity and the outline. We're then just going to go ahead and update the name of the pie chart. Navigating to the Chart tab, we can also change the start angle of the pie chart and also update the inner radius so that the pie chart appears more like a donut shape. Under the General tab, we can give the element a title so that the user understands what the pie chart is showing, and then I'm also going to enable Last Update text and Summarize Data Download. This means that the user can download a CSV file of the chart's current data. If the element displays summary statistics, for example, the count or sum, the downloaded file will also include the aggregated data. Just a quick note, when you're configuring the element, you can also see the data table that the element is powered off. Now I want to add some actions to this element, so navigating to this tab, I'm then going to enable the Species Selector, Total Trees, and Tree Points layers as active targets that filter when I interact with the pie chart. When that's all configured, I can press Done and then resize and reposition the pie chart. If I then select a slice, we can see that the map and the other elements have all updated accordingly. So the next element that I'm going to add is a serial chart to display the breakdown of tree health. Select the tree point dataset that we're drawing from and update the category field to the health field. I want my fields to show in the reverse order than they currently are, so I'm going to sort by health and then select Sort Descending. Under the Chart tab, you can change whether your chart orientation is vertical or horizontal. In this case, we'll stick with vertical. Let's give the category axes a title, and then do the same for value axes. To give each category a unique color, select the Series tab and select the bar color by category. For this dashboard, I actually want the colors of the bar chart to match the green, amber, and red colors that I had previously used in the pie chart. So rather than copying and pasting each hex code over, which could take a bit of time, you can now save colors used in your dashboard elements. So let's navigate back to the pie chart colors, and we're simply going to press the plus button to add it to the saved colors list. Then if we head back to the bar chart, we can easily select the colors from the saved list and ensure color continuity throughout the dashboard. Within the Series panel, you can also change the line and fill opacity, and even change the type of chart displayed. Finally, let's give the element a name, enable last updated text, and summarize data download. And then we're going to configure the actions to every other element so that they update accordingly, as we'd done when we previously configured the other elements. To make the dashboard as accessible as possible, navigate to the Accessibility tab and give the chart a name that can be read by a screen reader. As we did before, let's move the chart to where we want it displayed on the dashboard and just check that it interacts alright with the other elements as we configured it to. So now that I'm looking at the map on the dashboard, I'm realizing I also want the users to be able to interact with it. So by clicking the Map Settings button, I can now enable map attributes such as Legend, Layer Visibility Tool, and the option for users to zoom in and out, and so on. When the user interacts with the dashboard, not only do I want the map to update if we interact with the elements, but I also want the elements to filter and update if we pan and zoom around the map. So I can enable this by navigating to the Map Actions tab and turning on all of the elements. As we can see, when we test this by zooming into an area on the map, the elements have all updated to reflect the correct figures and statistics for the data that's currently shown. I'd now like to add a Details element that displays attribute information relevant to the data, so that if someone clicks on a tree, they can see all of the relevant data that we have on record. Selecting the tree point layer from the map, you'll automatically see that the pop-up from the map is displayed. I'm going to sort by date and time because I'd like the element to display features in order of which trees have been most recently updated. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of how the pop-up information currently looks. So to update this, I'm going to need to open the underlying map that is powering the dashboard and update it from within the map viewer. In the map, select the data layer in question. Then on the right-hand panel, we're going to select the Pop-ups tab. Now we can see that the current pop-up is made up of a fields list, and it has a custom section of text that I made earlier for the tree maintenance data. Within the field list, you can manually add or deselect fields that you'd like to display, or you can remove the fields altogether in one go, which is what we're going to do now, because I'd like to create a custom text section instead. First, I'm going to update the title of our data to tell the user that it's the National Tree Map ID that we're currently seeing at the top of the pop-up. Then I'm going to press Add Content, and here this is where I'm going to create a custom text section. I'd like the user to see a description of the field and then see the relevant data. So to pull through the data fields, select the Field List button here and click the field that you'd like to display. This field represents the tree height, so I'm going to add that in front of the field as so. I'm going to go ahead and then do the same for the tree species, health, and risk. Feel free to customize the pop-up here so that it makes the most sense for your organization. Once you're ready, press OK, and you'll see that the pop-up automatically reflects the new edits that we've just made. Use this button on the left of the pop-up items to reorder how they're presented. Within the text field, you can also edit the text size, formatting, color, etc. Once you're happy with how the pop-up looks, just go ahead and save the map. And now if we head back into dashboards and then save our dashboard and refresh the page, we can now see that the pop-up has updated to show the one that we just configured within the map. So now let's finish setting up the element, and to do so we're going to open up the settings and navigate to the General tab and update the name and title. Once it's ready, we'll just reposition it within the dashboard. So my dashboard is on its way to being complete, but I also now want to add a list element that is stacked on top of the details element. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in as so. This list is going to display the information about tree maintenance. Let's select the tree points layer from the map, and then the first thing I'm going to do is expand the number of features displayed from 25 to 200. Feel free to select your own custom number here for whatever value works best for your dashboard. I'm then going to sort by date and time. Within the list panel, we can change the data field that is shown. At the moment, the users can simply see the ID of the tree, but I'm going to change this so that they can also see the last maintenance date of the tree. You're then able to update the style formatting of this text to draw attention to the most important information. I'm going to add a search bar so that the users can simply search by a tree's ID if they already know it. If you'd like to do some advanced formatting, here's where you can do so using Arcade, which is Esri's lightweight scripting tool built for the ArcGIS system. Now let's give our element a name and title, and I'm also going to add a description to give the user some more context as to what's being shown in the list. Finally, we'll enable last updated text for the element and then configure its actions. And just like that, we've created a stacked panel of elements. And I can now rename the elements at the bottom of the screen here so that it's easier for the user to understand what's being shown on each panel. So now I'm going to test out the new elements by interacting with the map. But as you can see, they aren't updating when we zoom into an area. This is because we haven't configured the map actions for the new elements that we're adding. So let's quickly do this by going into the map settings and turning on the map actions for each element. Because we configured our details list to show information about each tree, there's no need for the map to show a pop-up anymore, so I'm going to deselect this in the Layer Actions tab. I'm also going to open up the Tree Points layer and turn on the Flash Active Target, so that when our user selects a tree, the point flashes up on the map so we know which tree we're looking at. To ensure the user can select a tree on the map, I'm going to turn on Select Feature and add additional selection tools so that they can also then draw an area of interest to examine, as well as simply clicking on an individual tree. Now we can see how this would look on the map. But you'll notice when we select a point, the elements aren't updating, so we also need to configure this action. To do so, just open up the map settings, now navigate to Layer Actions, and add a filter on the Tree Points layer. We're just going to select all of the elements here and then press OK. So the elements in the dashboard are now all updating when we click on a specific tree on the map, or when we make a selection of trees using the tools that we added to the map. The Maintenance Date panel isn't currently sorting the list to show which trees were the most recently maintained at the top. And I'd like for this to happen, so I'm quickly going to open up the settings of this element and sort the date and time by descending. Now it is quite common when you're setting up a dashboard that the first few steps are just to configure your elements, and then you'll spend a bit of time tweaking the interactions between the elements so that they all update and filter the dashboard the way you'd like for your end user. I want for the user to be able to select a tree from the maintenance data list and have all of the dashboard update and the map zoom into the tree in question. So we're going to go into the Actions tab and enable zoom for the tree map. Now if I select a tree from the maintenance date list, the map then filters and zooms into the tree, and we can see the details list here has updated automatically to show that tree in question. So throughout the creation of the dashboard, I made interactions between all of the elements, but now seeing the dashboard being used, I actually don't want the species list to filter and narrow down when I zoom in to select a tree from within the map. So I'm quickly just going to deselect the tree species actions that we made for each different element. So finally, all of the elements are ready and I'm now happy with how the dashboard interacts. I'm quickly going to run through some additional settings that you can configure for your dashboard. So on the left-hand panel, select Theme. Now this is where you can control the colors that power your dashboard. For example, whether the dashboard has a light or dark theme, the text and element colors, and even some colors when selecting points on the map. Selecting the Time and Region panel on the left-hand column allows you to define your time zone that the dashboard will work in, and this is particularly helpful if you're bringing in live data feeds. So a feature that I love adding to my dashboards is a reset button. This allows the user to clear any selections made on elements, return the map back to its default extent, and it sets the tabs and features back to their first value. I can enable the reset button within the settings of the View panel. So another great feature that was introduced in the February 2024 ArcGIS Dashboards update is the ability to add a splash screen and info window to your dashboard. So I'm going to add a splash screen and define the title and body that the users will read before entering the dashboard. You can also edit the Dismiss button label and also allow the user to permanently dismiss it if you would like. In June 2023, we got another major new capability added to dashboards, which is the ability to add a mobile view of the dashboard that includes the same elements from your desktop view, or even add new elements with different configurations. It's important to note here that the mobile view is intended to complement the desktop view to provide additional information for users on the go. So when we first add the mobile view, the mobile dashboard appears blank, but we can either add new elements or copy elements over from the desktop dashboard that we just configured. You'll see all of the elements listed here, and we can then choose the ones that we would like to appear for the mobile user. Now I'm only going to select a few of the elements to appear in this view, because my intention for the mobile dashboard is just to simply get a snapshot of the green spaces. On the mobile view, there isn't much space to work with, so I'm going to stack the bar chart and the pie chart elements to save room. I also don't want the text headings to be as big either, so I can edit them too. Now, because we copied a version of the elements from the desktop dashboard, we're able to then edit them and change the font or size, or remove text, for example, without affecting the original element in the desktop dashboard. You'll see me flicking here between the mobile view and the desktop view, just to show that our pie chart edits on the mobile view did not change anything within the desktop dashboard. I can now configure the mobile elements how I would like, making the elements appear clearer for a smaller screen size. The thing to note with the mobile elements is that when we copied them over, none of the map or layer actions have been brought into the mobile view. So we just quickly need to reselect the actions that we want to happen when the user interacts with the mobile dashboard. For example, I want the elements to update when I select an item on the map or zoom into it. So I'm just going to re-add those connections now. So we can see that's all been updated and the mobile dashboard interacts exactly how I'd like it to. Now I'm all done and both dashboard views have been configured, so all there's left to do is save the dashboard and share it with my colleagues. Here's the final version of the desktop dashboard. When I open the app, I get the splash screen that we configured, and I can then interact with all of the elements. As you see, the dashboard dynamically updates because we set up all of the relationships between the elements and the map. Finally, when I'm done changing the selections, I can use the reset button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen to set the dashboard back to how it was when it was first opened. And that brings us to our final video in this series on grounds maintenance. Thank you all for watching, and if you'd like to check out any of the other videos in the grounds maintenance playlist, then please do so. Or check out Series 1 on getting started with your data, where we mapped our housing association's ownership area and then created an app for staff to explore that land classification for the area of interest. Keep an eye out on the Esri UK YouTube page for our next series on asset management. Thanks for watching.